if you want to just number the pages on them,
Want me to mark them with him?
why don't you mark them just number wise and that way he can refer to them?
I'm going to show you these one at a time. What's been marked as People's Exhibit 3. And I'm going to put a number 1 at the bottom right of the first one. And I'm going to show that to you. Could you describe for the court what that is?
This is a picture of a bag or backpack on the back seat of the vehicle.
Do you recognize that bag?
Yes, that's the bag that I spoke about that I found and suspected bag.
Does that photo accurately depict what you saw?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you what's been now marked in the bottom right hand corner is page 2 of this exhibit and ask you to describe that for the court.
So that's a picture of a small baggie of white crystal-like substance suspected methamphetamine, and it's on top of that bag that I found.
Does that accurately depict what you saw that night?
Yeah.
Or found that night?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm going to show you what I've marked page 3 in the bottom right hand corner of this exhibit and ask you to describe that for the court.
It's a picture of a prescription bottle with the name of Jason Couples on it. And I believe this was something that Deputy Ramirez found in that same bag.
But you documented that.
I did that.
Does that accurately depict what you saw that night? I'm going to show you what's been marked. I'm marking as page 4 of this exhibit in the bottom right hand corner and ask you to identify that for the court.
Appears to be a beta bus card for Jason Couples.
Can you photograph that? Does that accurately depict what you saw that night?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what I'm marking as page 5 of exhibit 3 and ask you to identify this for the court.
This is the glass pipe that was tucked in the carpet under the driver's seat.
Where is that located?
It'd be just behind where the driver would place their feet in the forward, under the front driver's seat.
And is that where you found it exactly?
Yes.
And does that accurately depict what you saw?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm going to show you what I'm marking as page 6 of exhibit 3 and ask you to identify that.
That is that same glass pipe with residue that I found under the driver's seat, just pulled out of the spot that was at.
Removed. Do you know who removed it from that spot?
I-
Okay. And that accurately reflects what you saw?
Yes.
Show you what I'm marking as page 7 of exhibit 3 in the bottom right hand corner. And ask you to describe that for the court.
There's a Walmart card for Daryl Pruitt.
Yeah. You photograph that.
I did.
Does that, do you know where that was found?
I believe that is the card I found in the center console in between the front driver and passenger seats.
And does that accurately depict what you saw that night?
Yeah.
Morning, I say night, morning,
Yes.
early morning. I'm going to show you what's been marked. I marked it as page 8 of this exhibit and ask you to describe that.
This is a black bag that Deputy Ramirez found in the trunk of the vehicle.
You took that photograph.
I-
Does that accurately reflect what you saw that night? I'm going to show you what I'm marking as page 9 of exhibit 3 and ask you to identify that for the court.
That's the inside of that same black bag that I spoke about. It was found in the trunk.
What does it show inside of that?
Shows a plastic baggie with a large amount of substance in it, and with a couple needles, possibly the edge of the scale.
All right, I'm going to show you what I'm marking as page 10. Exhibit 3. And ask you to identify that for the court.
That's the plastic bag that was found in the black bag that we just spoke about. It's what appears to be a large amount of money.
That accurately reflect what you saw that night?
Yeah.
And you took that photo. Of exhibit 3 and ask you to identify that.
So another picture of a baggie that was in the black bag. Appears to be a brown powder.
There is something else in that picture.
Roll the bag, but also that large. bag.
That photograph. That accurately you saw that night. Thank you. I'm going to show you what's been marked as page 12 of exhibit 3
Yes.
and ask you to identify that.
Another picture of the outside of the black baggie, another smaller clear baggie next to it, and a couple needles.
And you took that photo.
Right.
And does it accurately depict what you saw?
Yeah.
Let me show you what I marked as page 13 of exhibit 3 and ask you to identify that.
It's a picture of, I believe it's Deputy Ramirez holding.
Does it accurately depict what you saw?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you what I marked as page 14 of exhibit 3 and ask you to identify that.
This is the stocking cap that I mentioned earlier that found in the trunk that says pulling on it. Next to that is a glass pipe that has residue.
Does that photo accurately depict what you saw that night?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you what's been marked. I'm marking as page 15 of exhibit 3 and ask you to identify that.
It's wrapped up in a piece of paper is the copper colored charbroil or scour cap that I spoke of that was also found in the hat and the trunk with the pipe. It's also part of the pipe.
Does that accurately depict what you saw that night?
Yeah.
I would ask for admission of exhibit 3.
Mr. Hartel, any objection? Mr. Johnson?
No objection, Your Honor.
3 is received.
I can't remember what page, but the photo with the large quantity of what you suspected to be methamphetamine, what does that indicate to you?
It'd be more than user amount, more like a delivery situation or a selling situation.
So, no,
Narcotics.
thank you. I don't have anything further.
Mr. Hartel?
Yes. Thank you, Your Honor. If I recall correctly, were you saying that you've been with the K-9 unit since 2018?
I've been with the Cadillac Police Department since 2015.
Oh, okay. How long have you been specifically with the K-9 unit?
I've had Canine Attila from May of 2023.
All right. When you mentioned a while ago, and I might be using the wrong words here, but train final indicators, was that the word you used? Okay. Could you describe what those are?
So usually after you see the change of behavior that I spoke about, the dog is trained as a final indication. It's different with dogs or trainers, but in this case, the indication is to come to a fit position.
Okay. Is that true for any narcotics that she might find, regardless of the type?
Right, she can't talk, so she's trained to find her trained, so it doesn't matter what it is, it's gonna be the same.
You were saying that she was a dual purpose narcotics. Was there any, does the dual just mean the different types of narcotics, or is there more to it?
It just means that she's trained in other narcotics as well as other disciplines.
Is she trained in the detection of marijuana? Do you know when the dog stopped receiving that training? Canine officers?
For marijuana.
Were they ever trained in that, to your knowledge?
I don't know, but she has never been trained.
So to be clear, though, you can't, might be kind of a silly question, but she's not gonna be able to be Scooby-Doo and tell you specifically there's a specific type of drug in there. It's just the sitting down is the indicator and you go from there, just to confirm, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. When she does that, do you know specifically what part of the vehicle she's saying it's in, or is she, based on your experience with her, just somewhere?
So she's trained to try and find the source. Just depending on the vehicle and the situation and the wind, there's a lot of factors. But she's trained to get as close to the source as possible, but it doesn't always mean that.
Okay.
Generally, she can smell that.
I appreciate, I believe you've answered all the questions I had for you, but there may either be some more from Ms. Carey or from my co-counsel.
Ms. Carey, do you have any redirect? Mr. Johnson?
Sergeant, I think you said it took you 10 minutes to get there after you were requested to arrive. Is that correct?
Approximately.
How long were you on scene before my client, Mr. Couples, was arrested?
Don't recall specifically.
What time did this stop in?
I don't recall specifically.
Purpose of you bringing your drug K9 unit is to ascertain probable cause to search vehicle.
I was requested by the sheriff's office.
Right, but that's the purpose of a K9 unit, correct?
It's to see if the odor of narcotics is present.
Just so you can search vehicle.
Sometimes it happens.
How long was the dog sniffing the vehicle?
From the time I got her out of the car,
Yep.
I'd say around 5 minutes.
Okay. How long was the search of the vehicle?
A lot longer than that.
Okay. You have no estimation?
More than a half hour. I'd have to review. I don't know.
Thank you. No further questions.
Ms. Carey?
Did you date when you stopped,
When I cleared the scene,
you cleared the scene?
yeah, my report was,
Did you prepare a report?
I did,
Do you have that with you?
I do.
Do you know were Mr. Pruitt and Mr. Couples arrested before you cleared the scene?
Yeah,
Do you know about how long between the time of their arrest and the time you cleared?
I don't recall specifically.
Okay. And again, and you testified you were asked to arrive, you were asked to go assist at 12:18.
Correct. I have 12:18 on my report, whether that's the time I got there, or the time I was asked to go there, I don't recall specifically.
Is there a way to find that out? Do you know?
Probably through dispatch.
Okay. All right, I don't have anything further.
Mr. Hartel?
Very briefly, I know you're talking about the indicators with your, I always forget the right, I don't want to be offensive, K9 officer, is that the right term to use?
Police dog. There's a lot
Okay.
of different names.
I just want to make sure we respect like trooper versus deputy. All of it. Is there anything based on your experience with this exact dog that would be false positive? You've had any issues with that?
I mean, obviously, if the dog just sits when they don't have the behavior changes before, that's usually something that's would possibly be that.
All right.
That's something I trained to watch for.
All right. I appreciate you giving the context for that. Thank you again, officer.
Ms. Carey?
Attila's indication was not a false positive in this case, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Hartel?
Nothing else.
Mr. Johnson?
Nothing else.
Sergeant, you're not certain, I want to make sure I'm clear on this. You're not certain that the time indicated in your report would have been when you received the call or when you arrived on scene?
I can't say for certain. That's just the time that I have documented.
All right. Normally, when you write your report, how do you document your time?
Normally, when I write my report, that would be the time I was called. So that first time would be the time that I was called. So if I had to, I won't say guess, but educated guess, that would be the time that I was asked to go.
So when you received the call?
Correct.
And did you go to the scene, lights and sirens or just normal?
Normal drive.
And can you describe for me, if you recall, the path that you would have taken to get there, or that you took to get there?
So at that time of night, all the lights on Mitchell Street are flashing. I recall going right down Mitchell Street, so I wouldn't have to stop for, there might be one or two in between that don't flash, but most of them are flashing. And then right down 34 road, 37 road.
Now, you indicated that there are, or at least if I understood the testimony correctly, that there are multiple final indicators.
Dogs are trained different ways, was all I was getting at.
Is your dog trained different ways?
She's trained to sit as a final indication.
Right. Along with the change of behavior is what you look for.
Correct.
All right, Ms. Carey, does that raise any additional questions?
No, not really.
Mr. Hartel,
No, thank you.
Mr. Johnson,
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Carey?
Probably not too important, but Sergeant, did you make any stops from the time you left the police department until the time you arrived at the scene?
No, I wasn't there.
Roughly, do you know about how far that is?
4 miles, I would say. If I had to guess.
Thank you.
Mr. Hartel, Mr. Johnson?
No, Your Honor.
That raises a question for me, I guess. Do you have to, when you received the call, do you have to get your canine ready, or was it already in the vehicle?
She was already.
She's already in the vehicle. All right, so you just have to get in the vehicle.
Correct.
Did you have to do prep before you left? Ms. Carey,
Nothing further. Thank
Mr. Hartel, Mr. Johnson?
No, Your Honor.
May this witness be excused?
you.
Permanent or temporary? You may step down and go about your day. Thank you. Your next witness, Ms. Carey?
People will rest.
All right, so since we're still running these together, Mr. Hartel, do you have any proofs for either the motion to suppress or the prelim? Mr. Johnson?
No, file, Your Honor.
All right. Then let's do argument. Let's address the motion to suppress first, and then you can argue for the prelim. Ms. Carey?
Both, I mean, each portion is a little bit different. But ultimately, I'm going to rely heavily on my written responses and the testimony in this case. I believe this was not a prolonged detention or a prolonged, unlawfully prolonged stop. And I believe that Deputy Ramirez did have probable cause to search that vehicle. He received a tip that narcotics were being dealt and used at Wright's Auto on Leeson Avenue. He went to Leeson Avenue and saw the defendant's vehicle leaving. There were no other vehicles. He ran the plate, or his partner did, and they came back with no insurance. So he conducted a stop. Inside the vehicle were 2 men and a female, which had been indicated in the silent observer tip. They questioned them, which they are allowed to do, as I went into detail with in my written responses. He was allowed to question them, he was allowed to ask them out of the vehicle. He did that. They gave conflicting information, and while before he started writing the vehicle was finished, Sergeant Hicks arrived, he conducted the canine tip, and he indicated based on the totality of the circumstances, motor vehicle exception, he searched the vehicle and found a lot of narcotics. A lot, 209, I think, of meth in the trunk. I believe 5 grams in Mr. Couple's backpack, along with fentanyl, along with drug paraphernalia. I believe, based on the totality of the circumstances, was lawful. There is probable cause, frankly, to bind the matter over. And I know we're doing just the motions, but I would ask the court deny both motions. We've certainly, in response to Mr. Pruitt and Mr. Hartel's motion, answered the question about the dog and the training. But based on the totality of all of these circumstances, I'm going to ask the court to deny both motions.
Thank you. Mr. Hartel?
Yes, Your Honor. I would ask the court, I mean, I can't speak for both, obviously, but I'll in a minimum speak for my client. I would ask for the court to grant our motion. I do believe the stop was prolonged. I do believe the officer testimony, they didn't know the exact times of both the officers, but there was testimony that took quite a while. There was the fact that the stop, it's suspicious at a minimum, and I don't want to over conjecture at that, but they were following the vehicle before they knew about the no insurance. Then they pull them over. Then they go through all these other steps before they even start writing the tickets. And as far as the inconsistent stories, travel stories, I know in my motion, at least, I don't remember if Mr. Johnson did so as well, but in my point number 6, where I cite 2 cases, United States versus Step and People v. Oliver, where the courts were consistent in those cases from 2012 and 2005, that inconsistent travel stories alone do not create reasonable suspicion. I asked the court to weigh that in. I realize that people are making more arguments than just that. As far as that part, I asked the court to factor it in. People can have inconsistent travel stories for various reasons. Maybe they're tired. This was barely after midnight. Maybe there's a bunch of variables at play. It's a relatively large stretch of road. People can be out there for various reasons. It boils down to the fact that all of the questions, for the most part, as far as separating people, all these details, the vast majority of the questions had nothing to do with the insurance. The search had nothing to do with the insurance. And the ticket didn't start getting wrote until significantly towards the tail end of this. I would also ask the court to factor in that, well, I'll save any argument that I would make for the prelim part for the prelim, but I do believe it'd be appropriate to grant this motion. Thank you, Your Honor.
I want to make sure I heard you correctly. Did you say the stop was suspicious?
I do believe overall it was, Your Honor. I know that's not entirely the point of this motion because we're talking about other variables, but if they're making this initial thing due to the fact that there was this anonymous tip, which I don't remember initially being in the discovery that we received, but I know that it came out. I know that came up in some of the questions that my co-counsel did with the officers.
Are you saying that they didn't receive the tip?
I'm not saying they didn't receive the tip. I'm saying that I wasn't necessarily aware of the tip in all of its detail before we came in today. And I'm not trying to make a problem about that. I'm not trying to object to that. I want to be clear.
No, okay.
But I'm not trying to say the stop necessarily was illegal. They did have a valid reason to stop with no insurance. I realize plain sight doctrine says that you can stop for that reason. There's case law that supports that. Defense attorneys might have opinions on that, but that's neither here nor there. But it does seem to me that the officers had already decided they were going to find a reason to pull this vehicle over and they were going to find a reason to search it. And the insurance seems to be an afterthought. It was drug out as long as possible to justify the search. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist with this, but that's how at least it feels as a defense attorney. And I did feel important to think that's stated. Thank you.
Didn't Deputy Ramirez testify that the reason for the stop was the no insurance?
That was the reason that was stated, yes, Your Honor.
So, and I believe he also testified that they got that back before they made the stop. Got it back that there was no insurance, at least as Secretary of State.
Yes, but they started following the vehicle before that for the reasons that were also stated on the record. Because they
Law
received-
enforcement, can they not do that?
I'm not saying they can't.
Okay.
I'm just saying, it seems from a defense perspective that this stop may have been prolonged for various reasons, but it doesn't change the fact that the information they had could have been writing the ticket right away. It could have been done a lot quicker. I do feel it was prolonged inappropriately. Thank you.
So I'm not trying to put you on the spot,
Oh, it's
but I just want to make sure I'm understanding your argument.
Yes.
You're not arguing that they didn't have a reason to stop the vehicle. You're arguing that the stop was prolonged. It went longer than was necessary to write a ticket for the no insurance case.
That's the boiled down part. I know I threw in a bunch of extra words, but yes, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, okay. Anything else?
Not on behalf of myself, at least, no.
All right, Mr. Johnson?
Thank you. Do you mind if I go to the phone?
No, go ahead.